because then I can like be there forever as long as I want to, sign as much as I want. But yeah, this is technically labeled as a school idol panel, and I've got my school idol jacket because I love school idols. But we can kind of make this whatever you guys want.
Sure.
Since I don't have like a general panel, you guys are free to ask whatever you want about other stuff that I've been in. I'll let you know some of the other stuff I've been in. I'm, of course, Nico in Love Live. I am Ryuko in Kill la Kill. I'm Yuuki in Sword Art Online 2.
Gon, Hunter, Hunter.
Gon in Hunter x Hunter. Deanne in Seven Deadly Sins.
Yes.
I just got to announce pretty recently that I'm in Street Fighter 5. What?
Your line name.
Your line name, Tsubaki, yeah. There's so many, I just forget, because there's so many cool ones, and usually it's like, I'm going to name like 3 so I don't take up too much time, but I've got so many cool ones that whenever I forget one, people are like, no, what about that one? I'm like, okay. But Sailor Uranus and Sailor Moon, stuff like that, so on and so forth. But yeah, you guys are free to ask whatever questions you'd like. If you want to talk about school idols, we can surely talk about school idols, because I am a little obsessed sometimes. With it, especially with the game. Although lately I haven't been too active with the game just because I've been so busy. But you have a question?
I wanted to
Sorry.
do something. I saw the Tsunami broadcast of Hunter x Hunter, and I wanted to do the little piggy pumps that Gon did with you doing Gon's voice, but I don't know.
You want
Piggy pumps?
Pinky Promise?
It's, I think, Pinky swear if I should.
Yeah, I don't remember it. Just to let you guys know, because I'm a little bit under the weather, if you guys couldn't tell, voices are going to be a little bit hard for me to do right now.
I'll look it
You're going to look it up? Okay. Well, let me know, and boy voices might be a little bit easier to do right now, because I'm a little hoarse. But yeah, you had a question back there.
What's your favorite school idol, or which is the type of school idol that you like doing? Or?
Oh, what is my favorite, my best girl basically. Katori is my absolute favorite school idol. Although in the new season, Sunshine, now that we've actually seen the girls in action, I really like Yohane, Yoshika. I think she's really funny. She's kind of like the Nico of the group in a way, so I'm kind of like biased towards her, I think. But yeah, Katori is just definitely my all-time favorite, and then Maki is a close second, I think, because I love Sunrise.
I wanted to ask him.
Yeah.
Getting the role of Yuuki, it was a Zekin before she revealed herself. What was that like, and how emotional were you when you got to the part where she died?
Spoilers. I mean, it's been out for a little while, I guess. It's fine. But yeah, she's in. I feel like whenever I talk about Yuuki, I say that I've done my sword art time, basically, because she was in 6 episodes, and who knows if she'll show up again, you know, for one reason or another. But I really enjoyed playing Yuuki. She's definitely one of my favorite characters, for sure. She was probably one of the first roles I think I got to do where I got to be really emotional. So that was really exciting because I feel like it really tested my acting range. And every part where you see Yuuki crying in the show is me crying. Like I was really crying for that. So anything near the end of that season is just real me tears because I watched it in Japanese and cried during the Japanese version. And then I had actually, the way we recorded those last episodes was actually pretty interesting because they had me lying down in a chair because Yuuki is lying down in the scene that's going on at that time. So we tried me lying down and it worked out pretty well, I think. And I had them record everybody else first so then I could act off everybody. Because usually it's kind of a toss-up when you're doing anime, whether or not you get to hear the other people recording. So if you happen to record before other people, then you don't get to hear them. But if they record before you, then you do get to hear them. So I specifically requested that everybody else record before me, and I think it worked out pretty well because it got me to cry. So that was an adventure, honestly. But I'm really happy with the way it turned out. I made myself cry after watching the actual finished product of it, so that's usually a good sign, I think. But I feel like I did a decent job at it.
Exciting. Before I asked, I found one.
You found the Gon line?
It's another one of those dub versus subreddits, but the top is the dub, which you did, and hopefully try your best.
Yeah.
Going.
Okay.
Everybody ready?
Yes.
Pinky swear, so if I lie, stick 1,000 needles in my eye and seal it with a
And what was it like when you voiced Gon in Hunter x Hunter?
Gon was really cool. I really love Gon. I've played young boys before. I have to be careful how I word that. Because that always gets a little dangerous. I'm getting better at it now. I don't slip usually. But Gon's really cool. Actually, I had heard a lot about Hunter x Hunter before we started recording for it. But I hadn't watched it yet because I was hoping for the eventual dub that I knew would be coming out at some point. And lo and behold, I ended up being the main character in it, so of course I'm watching it now. I would have watched it regardless, of course, but yeah, I'm really, really enjoying what I've been seeing of it so far. I think I'm definitely not caught up, especially to where we're recording. I think I finished watching like episode 20, 24 or something like that. So I have a long way to go still, and we're still recording it. Probably be recording that for another year and a half or so because there's so many episodes. But it's cool because it's the longest series I've ever been a part of. If you don't count Sailor Moon, I guess, but I'm not in as much of that as some of the other girls. But yeah, I really love Gon. He's cool. Yeah.
What helps you prepare to play as your role? Like, what helps you play as the role as a character?
What helps me prepare for playing characters? It really depends on the character. Sometimes I don't get the luxury of knowing what I'm going in to do, but when I do know, I like to look up as much as I can about the character if there's source material already out there. In most cases, when you're doing Japanese media, the subs will already have been out if you're doing an anime, or the video game will already be out so you can look it up. But although it feels like for video games lately, they're dubbing them sooner than they come out in Japan, so it's harder to find material for a lot of them right now. But yeah, I look up as much as I can if there's anything out there, and then I kind of I'll like watch playthroughs. I'll watch the anime if it's, you know, up to a certain point, and just kind of, yeah, I feel like I'm just kind of circling around that answer, but it's really just me trying to figure out as much as I can about them and their relationships with the other characters. Yeah, and I like to listen to the music from the show or the game, and it gets me pumped up, so.
What has it been like recording for Sailor Uranus?
Oh, Sailor Uranus has been really fun. She's been interesting because she's the deepest voice I've ever done, and I was really intimidated, especially since there are people that feel a certain way about the old dub, and then people who feel another way about the old dub, so it's kind of like a mixed bag, whether people are really dead set on the nostalgia of the old dub, or whether or not they're really excited about the new one. So that was kind of scary, you know, wanting to live up to people's expectations, I think. But yeah, she's people were really supportive when I got announced because of my work in Kill la Kill, but Uranus is like an even deeper voice than Ryuko, and she's more level-headed than Ryuko is, so it's definitely a different attitude for that character. But yeah, I've really been enjoying her because I don't get to play a lot of characters that are as cool as Haruka, so I'm really excited to do more at some point. We're on a break right now because we finished Sailor Moon S months ago, and it's finally coming out in November. We're taking a break for Super S, and then I believe I come back whenever we do the movies. I have no idea when that's happening, but it's confirmed to happen, so that's nothing new. And then when we eventually do Stars, I'm actually looking forward to that because I honestly didn't grow up with Sailor Moon because I'm from the Chicago. So whenever I would come home from school, it was already halfway through an episode when it was on TV. So I never watched it because I didn't want to watch halfway through an episode or whatever was on. So I hadn't started watching it until the new dub came out. So I'm kind of experiencing it all for the first time. But I had seen clips because I had a lot of friends that were really into Sailor Moon, clips of Haruka and Michiru specifically. And I like a lot of the clips I've seen where Haruka gets really jealous over like Seiya in regards to Michiru, so I'm really excited to record that stuff. I hope we get to do it sooner than later.
Getting a bit role in as Corbin in Dustin Elysian Tale. I don't know if anybody knows this game. Anybody?
Yeah, I did an indie game called Dustin Elysian Tale a while back. That was probably one of my first paid gigs that I'd ever done. If you haven't played it, it's on
It's on
Xbox,
PS4.
it's on Steam, it's on PS4 now. It's a really fun game if you like animals and side scrollers. Yeah.
When you got to be Pac-Man,
Oh.
did you ever like just random question, but like, do they give you copies of the game since you did the voice for him?
Contrary to popular belief, we actually don't get free copies of everything that we're in. Especially video games. I've never gotten a free copy of a video game as far as I can remember. So I go out and buy them myself. So I own a copy of Pac-Man and the Ghostly Adventures. But luckily, I work with Aniplex a lot for anime, and they tend to give me, if you're a lead character, they tend to give you the box sets, which is really cool of them.
Do you get recognized in public sometimes?
Not
When you like,
often.
when you shop or something?
No. I went to a Kingdom Hearts launch event one day in Burbank, when the 2.5 Final Mix, whatever, was coming out. I don't even know anymore, Kingdom Hearts. But I happened to be wearing my Ryuko jacket at the time, and there was this other guy that was wearing a Ryuko jacket, and he was like, we eventually collided, or not collided, we didn't run into each other. We talked to each other at one point. He was saying he was trying to like avoid me because we were wearing the same jacket, and he thought it was kind of weird. But then he found out who I was, and he was like really excited. So
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, but it doesn't happen too much. I don't think most people know what I look like, so it's probably a good thing. I wouldn't want to be like mobbed while I'm shopping for toilet paper or something like that.
But it's nice you're a celebrity at least,
Certain realms.
You get what I mean.
Yeah, it's a good feeling though. Like I don't do it to be famous or to be popular. Like I just really like making people happy, and that's why I've been doing so many conventions.
Will there be a Pac-Man 3?
I have no idea. It'd be cool. I'd love to work on another Pac-Man game. Those are really fun.
Did you ever play the old ones? I'm sorry.
I played like the arcade ones, and then what was that one? Pac-Man World, I think, where it's like Pac-Man and he's got the legs and he's walking. It's like a weird RPG side-scroller thing.
Yeah.
Like that one was really fun. But yeah, I haven't played too much other than that.
Thanks for the questions.
Yeah, no problem. Yes.
So what was it like working with in Your Lie in April?
Oh, Your Lie in April was one of those heartbreaking series that I was really intimidated by because, like, again, it's kind of the same with Sword Art. If I can't make myself cry doing a performance like that really requires emotional acting like that, then I get scared and like really hard on myself about it. But I think it turned out pretty well, and everybody was really happy with it. And the cast as a whole sounds really good. So I feel like I couldn't have done it without everybody else as a whole for the cast. And everybody sounds really good together, so I was really excited to be a part of that. Yeah, I still watch that every so often and I cry.
I watched it on Netflix.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah. It's really sad. It's a good show though. Right here. Yes.
Okay, hi. Just wanted to know, how long have you been in this business, and what got you motivated and started in all this?
I think I've been doing work professionally for about 4 or 5 years now, something like that. Probably closer to 4. My motivation was I love cartoons and video games. Like I've always loved them since I was a kid. And it's kind of like once you get to realize that there are people doing these voices and they do like multiple voices and different things that you've heard, it's kind of like, whoa, that's cool. Like people get paid to do this. Like this is an actual job. So at some point, I think around the time, I want to say when Final Fantasy X came out, that was like one of the first big video games with full voiceover in the story, for the most part. And after that, I started looking up voiceover on the internet and found, web forums where other people were also interested in voiceover and would record their own voices and pretend to be like their favorite characters from games and shows. So I kind of got involved with that community for a while, just for fun. It was just a little hobby thing that I did when I was like 13 years old. And eventually I kind of just was like, this might be something I actually want to do at some point, which was scary, but cool at the same time, because I'm a very introverted and shy person normally, and I was much more so when I was a teenager. I've gotten used to it a little bit more now, but I had always wanted to like be creative and do stage acting, but I was always too afraid to. So I was very hesitant to join plays or like, take acting classes in school. But I eventually pushed myself to do it because I was like, you know what, this is something I want to do, so I'm going to try the best I can to do it. So I took a few classes here and there, and I actually went out to Los Angeles when I still lived in Chicago and tried out for in 2009, they were still doing AX Idol at Anime Expo. So I went and I tried out for that, and I auditioned with like 300 other people. I didn't get past the first audition, so I was like, okay, well, maybe this isn't for me. And so that kind of like goes to show that contests like that mean absolutely nothing. To kind of like push that to the present tense. But yeah, I kind of forgot about it for a while. I just kind of did the online stuff for a little while longer, and then I eventually started dating someone long distance who was doing voiceover in New York, and I had just finished my bachelor's degree in animation, so, because again, I love cartoons, so I haven't done anything with that degree. I managed to pay off the loan in like 5 years. I couldn't even tell you how I did that, but I paid it off, and that was the end of that degree. But I'm kind of in that field now, right? It's kind of the same, sort of. My mom.
You should do your own creations.
I should, but I'm still out of practice now. It's bad. Yeah, so I was dating this guy, and he wanted to move to California, and I was like, well, with this degree, if I ever do anything with it, spoiler, I didn't.
Hey, you never know.
Yeah, I just started back up again. But I was like, I should move to California too. Like, California would be a good place for me to be with an animation degree. So we moved out to California about like 6 or so years ago, and I was totally content just to watch him do his voiceover career thing. But because people knew I did stuff from my online hobby days of doing voiceover, I had people that were already in the industry that knew what I could do, so they would recommend me for projects here and there. And it was a long time with me not getting anything, but eventually, I started taking voiceover classes out there, and more people in the industry started getting to know me, and I started getting more opportunities, and just kind of stuck after a little while, and I've made so many networking relationships that kind of got me to where I am today. So
Awesome.
it doesn't pay as much as I think people when you're doing like anime and Japanese video games. It doesn't nearly pay as much as I think people think it does. So if you're striving to do that kind of stuff, like it has to be something you really love, or like an in-between job, I guess. Because there was a time when I just quit my full-time job pretty recently to focus on doing voiceover. So I'm looking to get an agent and stuff like that at some point, so I can actually make money doing this. But for a while it was just me doing something that I really loved doing. So that was kind of my motivation, is just you know, having fun and doing a job where I didn't hate my. I cringe a lot when I listen to it because I'm like, oh man, you can tell like how new I was in this, and then as it gets further on, it's like, oh, you know, you can hear me getting better. At least I think, and I've heard other people tell me that too. So I'm not just like, yeah, I totally got better. I'm the best, you know. But yeah, as painful as it was doing that show, because it's 90% screaming, as far as Ryuko's part goes, I don't regret any of it, and it's hard saying it, but I'd do it again, you know, like as painful as it was. Or if, you know, I think the show ended in a good space, but if they wanted to do like a movie or a second season, I'd be more than happy to play Ryuko again, because she means a lot to me, I think. So. You haven't asked one yet with the camper.
Yeah. What did you study your degree for animation?
What did I study?
Yeah, where your degree?
Where? I went to DePaul University in Chicago. They had just opened up their animation program, so I was like, yeah, why not? I like cartoons. I can draw. Why not? And it was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. Because it's kind of one of those things where I was like one of the, I like to tooting my own horn here, I was one of the best artists in my high school, and then like it's kind of that huge curve to where once you get into college, after graduating, it's all of a sudden it's like you're the worst person in college. So that happened to me, and I was like, oh man, I'm so discouraged now. This is the worst. I'm so bad. So that was hard getting through that, but I graduated, so I got that degree. Did nothing with it.
Yeah, you said.
You in the white shirt next to the pink hair. Yeah, I think that's a white shirt, right?
Yeah. What I wanted to ask was, how do you emotionally get in and out of a scene? Do you like still feel that emotion running when you get home or right after?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like good examples. For Sword Art Online, the last episode that we recorded, which is like the big emotional episode for that season, we tried to do it all in one, not in one take, but like without taking a break. And like the director would keep asking me if I wanted to take a break, but I was like in this like emotional space. And I was like, no, I don't want to take a break because then I'm gonna like lose it. And sure enough, he made me take a break, and I was like, well, that's gone. Okay. Like I was still like feeling it, but it was like a different kind of like, because I was at that point I was like angry that we had to stop because I was feeling good about it, but I was also feeling like crap at the same time because I had been crying for like 40 minutes. So like stuff like that, and it's hard to kind of get back into it when you're kind of like really into that space, and you're kind of coming into the middle. But and then also for Kill la Kill, there would be times when, you know, Ryuko's like really freaking angry, and I would be angry for like the rest of the day. I was just so like worked up, you know. I don't know, because it's like if you get in an argument with somebody over like the tiniest thing, like you stay mad for a little while, you know. So it's kind of the same thing. Sometimes I try to think of like things that happened to me that week, if anything, to kind of like throw myself into that space a little bit more. Sometimes I don't have anything, so I kind of have to pull it out of nowhere. But yeah, it kind of it stays with me a little bit sometimes. And for shows like again Sword Art and Your Lie in April, there would be times when I was just so sad, like hours after having recorded, that I would just cry. You know, just in the car on the way home and stuff like that, or like I'd get home and just like sob and want to take a nap for a good hour or whatever. Yeah, it can be rough. Like people think it's literally you just going in and like doing funny voices when you do voiceover, but it really takes a toll on you. Or it can. I can't speak for all actors because some kind of just can, you know, turn it on and then turn it off. But for me, like it's like it definitely takes a toll emotionally and even physically sometimes. I'll come home sometimes and after having done a 2 to 4 hour recording session, depending on what it's for, and I'll be exhausted and want to take a nap and not want to do anything else for the rest of the day. Yeah, that's just my experience with it. I'm sure if you ask other people, they'll have different answers.
Like, what's been like your most favorite experience with like other voice actors? Like, and I think you've worked with Todd and Patrick Seitz and other people before. Like, oh sorry, who's been like your favorite person or couple of people to have, do work with?
Yeah, for anime, we don't generally get to work together in the same room, so I don't get to see a lot of those people unless I'm at conventions like this, or if we happen to be at like a rap party or something like that, or I see them in and out of the studio. But as far as like Patrick Seitz goes, I've worked with him as a director a few times, and I hang out with him now like a lot more. We've become really good friends, which is really cool because he's so funny. He's like the funniest guy I know. But as far as like being directed by him, sometimes he'll throw out the weirdest direction, and it'll make you give him the perfect take right after he gives it to you. Like there was this, I think it was maybe for, I did work on the God Eater game that just came out, and I forget what the line was, but he's basically like, pretend you're the coach of the volleyball team, and your nephew is like, down on himself, and you're trying to like cheer him up again. And I'm like, okay, like, all right. I'm sure he's told me weirder directions he's given other people, but I can't remember them right now. You'll have to, if you ever see him, you'll have to ask him his weird direction stories, because I'm pretty sure at least his girlfriend has them all written out, which they should release. I think they should print that book. I feel like my favorite story about another voice actor is actually, because sometimes people will ask, have you ever met your Japanese counterpart for anything you worked on? So I've actually met the Seiyu who does Ryuko's voice. I met her at Anime Expo 2 or 3 years ago. We were doing this big Kill la Kill event. And I was walking into the DOS hall at the time, and the director for the English dub, or the producer for the English dub came out, and she was like, oh, Ami Koshimizu, who voices Ryuko in Japanese, is here. Would you like me to introduce you to her? And I was like, yes. Like, why would I say no to that? And I'm wearing like my dorky like Ryuko varsity jacket at the time. So she comes out and she's like, taking pictures with fans. And when she's done with that, she turns around and she sees me and immediately notices the jacket and turns me around and is like freaking out over my jacket because she thinks it's the coolest thing. And I'm just like, I'm like trying not to fangirl myself, just because I was like, I need to be professional. This is like, she's been working in the industry for years. She's like super professional. This is fine. She's freaking out over me. This is fine. I'll be okay. Just pretend to be cool. It's fine. And then the producer tells her who I am, and she starts freaking out even more. So she wants to like take a picture with me and stuff like that. So we take a picture, and I don't speak Japanese, and she doesn't speak very good English. So we had to have our conversation translated between us, and it was a short conversation. But I'll never forget that apparently she had said that she was glad to have somebody share her pain. So as far as like the screaming goes, so that was like really cool. I think that she said that, and we had after the big actual Kill la Kill event that we had, we all went backstage and took pictures with cosplayers and the singer for one of the themes and the Japanese voice actors. A few of us were there. Like who was it? I think it was me, Dave Vincent, Patrick Seitz, Christine Marie Cabanos, and Sarah Williams. And we all went backstage and, taking pictures. And she kind of like calls me over and she tries to talk to me, but there was no translator nearby, so I have no idea what she said to this day, but I was just like, oh my God, we're like best friends now. This is yeah, that was really special.
Oh, and just like a side question, have you ever like met or friends or acquaintances with like Vic?
Yeah, I did a con with Vic. I'm sure I've done one before this, but we had dinner together at a con with other people at Anime Vegas, Otakon Vegas. I don't know him too well, but he seems like a nice guy. I like a lot of his work. It's really cool, just being in his presence sometimes. Because he's so, he's been working forever. I think one of the first things I knew him for was, I don't know if anybody saw Sayuki. Seiki was like one of my favorite shows way back when. He plays a character named Kogaji, and I was like, oh my god, it's that guy. But yeah, it's cool being in stuff with him because he's been around for so long. Yes.
Okay, so how was it like working on 7 Deadly Sins?
On the 7
That's like
Deadly
actually
Sins.
one of my favorites.
Oh yeah, Seven Deadly Sins. That one's a really popular one. Like I was really surprised how popular it was, but I guess because it's so easily accessible on Netflix, it was really fun. I had never heard of it before we started working on it. I actually did not audition for the show at all, which kind of made me upset because I really wanted to audition for Hawk because I love Hawk. But Deanne ended up being really fun. Like they just ended up casting me as Deanne because of other work I'm assuming that I've done. And she's really fun and cute. And I'm slightly mad at her though because she's like obsessed with Meliodas, and I'm like, why? He's a scumbag. Like he loves you for who you are, and you're worried about like Meliodas not liking you because you're a giant woman. It's like, no, just love King. He loves you. Right? At least, if not King, then Hauser. Like, Hauser's probably second, you know, Hauser, whatever. But King and Deanne. That's all I care about. Hopefully, I don't know if we're doing the second season yet. Like, that hasn't been confirmed. But I know they're doing it in Japan, at least. I hope we get to dub it, but I hope there's more, like, Deanne and King stuff, if that's the case. They need to get together.
I guess we could get official word on that from Netflix.
If they'll tell you, I don't know if they'll tell you. Yeah. Please Netflix. Spam their Twitter. Be like, we want 7 Deadly Sins season 2. Dub it, please, so Erica can work again.
Yay!
Yeah.
Who's your favorite character to play in Overwatch?
Oh, yeah. I don't voice anything in Overwatch, but I'm obsessed with Overwatch. I've got my little Mercy keychain here. But that's pretty much the answer. Like, I love Mercy. I try to play a little bit of everyone, just because the teams are so imbalanced, usually. Because people do not like to actually play the game for what it is. So I play a lot of Mercy and Diva. I really want to, like, be good at Ana, but I'm not. I can't do snipers. Snipers are really hard. And she's really hard. They kind of fixed her a little bit, so she's got more ammo now, but she's just so slow. So slow. And she can't even, like, hide, you know? She can't grapple hook up anywhere like Widowmaker can, and it's just annoying. Who else do I play? Zenyatta and sometimes Lucio. Lucio Bell is really fun if you guys haven't played it yet. If you have Overwatch. If you don't have Overwatch, get Overwatch. It's really fun. I don't like first-person shooters, but like Overwatch is amazing. Just turn off your chat, your voice chat. People are jerks. But I like Overwatch because I have it on the PS4 because I switched to Mac from PC and I really regret doing it, but I don't have the money to get a new computer, so I'm sticking with Mac right now. But I used to play a lot of League of Legends, and I love League of Legends. But because I don't have like a good gaming computer anymore, I now have Overwatch on my PS4, and it's kind of it's not the same thing at all, but it gives me similar feelings.
Yeah.
And despite there being a lot less characters, like it's still really fun to play, and the matches are really short usually, so it's really easy to just pick up and like put down or like play for 3 hours straight if you happen to be into that thing, which I totally am. Yeah, I love Overwatch. Sometimes I stream it, so if you catch me on Twitter, every once in a while I'll be like, I'm streaming Overwatch, and watch me be a really bad game commentary. But people seem to enjoy it. Like sometimes I'll get like 50 people watching me at once, and I'm like, why? Why are you guys here? Me being an idiot playing video games. But yeah.
Not a lot of people who play Tracer.
Oh yeah, I play Tracer every now and then. I try not to play her too much though, because I usually end up throwing myself off the cliff. Because I can't control, like, I don't know how to control her zooming ability that well, so I usually end up either zooming off a cliff or zooming straight into somebody's ult. Because I'm really bad at shooters. I'm trying though, I'm trying really hard. My voice is getting really raspy, it sounds really cool right now.
Type of games you play because first-person shooters is really toxic right now.
Oh, that's why I turned the voice chat off.
Like Battlefield and
Yeah, I don't, no, I'm gonna play a game to enjoy it, not to listen to other people be jerks. You had a question?
I just wanted to ask, could you do Uranus planet power makeup, or would that hurt?
I could probably do it. It's gonna sound raspier than it usually does, because, yeah, my voice is really raspy right now. Okay. Uranus planet power makeup!
Thank you.
I actually feel like I did a session for Uranus while I was a little under the weather one day, and I actually think it probably, I forget what episodes it was for, but I think it's probably some of the best stuff because my voice was just so naturally deep at the time. Because usually I kind of have to like make it a little bit deeper, like not forcefully, but like, you know what I mean? But you know when you're sick and your voice just gets deeper and it just kind of sits there and it's kind of like, hey, I sound really cool right now. That's where it was, and I was like, wow, I sound really good today. This is awesome. Can I just always be sick when I record here? But yeah. So it's pretty close to what it sounded like, regardless of the rest. But man, I sound cool. Like, sorry. I really like this rasp right now. Probably gonna be dying later. Yeah.
Out of curiosity, who was your favorite champion in League of Legends?
Ooh, League of Legends. I haven't played in a long time, so I don't know much about the new. I haven't played since Talia came out, which I really want to play Talia, but again, don't have a good gaming computer, so I don't even want to bother. I play a lot of support just in general. So, Sona, Nami, Lux. I like Sejuani. Sejuani's really cool. I think that's most Lulu. I like Lulu. And yeah, Caitlyn, Jinx. Characters like I'm such a bad ADC, but they're cool characters. It doesn't matter. I miss playing it like a lot. I just need to buy a new computer. Other questions? Everyone's so quiet today. No, it's fine. Yeah.
Okay, have you ever like did or encountered a moment where it was like awkward or weird, but you used that like for your recording session, or have you ever like done like something weird or just for the fun of it with the other actors?
Well, like I said before, we don't work with the other actors generally, so it's hard to kind of play off people like that. But as far as like awkward stuff, I feel like I have bad comedic timing. My comedic stuff usually comes from my humor is more like sarcastic and dry humor. So when it comes to like really like hilarious, like you know, all over the place being funny, that's a lot harder for me than you know the type of humor that I generally like. So usually when I have to do, because that happens a lot in anime, you'll get like the really like crazy, going all over the place, funny kind of stuff. I feel really awkward about doing that kind of stuff. So usually, if it sounds really awkward, that's just legit me being like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm trying really hard to be funny, but it's not. I don't know if it's working. And then I'll get a laugh, and it's like, okay, I guess that was funnier than I thought it was. I think I want to say the most like awkward thing I could think of that has happened in a recording session is actually in the Kill la Kill bloopers.
Oh.
It's the story that I used to tell for my embarrassing recording moments story. So it's if you've seen Kill la Kill, there's the fight with Gon and Ryuko.
Oh yes.
And Gon is played by Patrick Seitz, so he's this very like deep voice guy. and he's got like a bondage fetish. So he's a little weird, and he has like a ball gag and stuff like that, and tentacle lips. It's really weird. So he like during their fight, she's transformed, so she's like half naked and stuff like that, as usual. Whatever, it's fine. It's a show. And he's like whipping her with these weird whips. And so the actual line is her just being like, ow, 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 getting whipped. So the director wants me to leave a blooper for Patrick. And I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't feel comfortable doing that. Can we not? And he's like, no, you got to do it. And so he wrote it up. Or no, he told me to do it, I think. Sometimes he writes out the bloopers, sometimes he just tells you to do a certain thing. So I'm not going to do it verbatim because there's a baby in the audience. But basically, you can hear it verbatim in the thing if you can hear behind the laughter of the recording from the panel that we did. But it's basically just, oh Patrick, please, don't do that. Yes, with Ryuko. And if you listen closely in the recording of the blooper reel from the panel, you can hear Patrick laughing afterwards. So I ran into him at the studio after that, and he was like, yeah, that was a thing that happened. He was like, yeah, he made me do that. I didn't know to do it. But yeah, that story is fun. I feel like I don't get to leave too many things like that too often for people, but because I usually can't think of stuff on my own on the fly. I'll think of it like after the fact, when it's like already too late. But luckily, Alex Von David, the director of like Kill la Kill and Sword Art Online 2, and Erased, which I'm also in as Kenya. I can't even gasp where I look. But yeah, he's usually really good about thinking of really funny things to put in blooper reels. Hopefully we'll have an Erased one if we do a panel for that at some point.
I saw it.
You cried? I haven't seen all of it yet, so no spoilers. I've only recorded up to episode 2.
You don't like it, don't like it.
It looks really good, so I
Yeah,
can't.
it is.
We have like 8 minutes, 5 minutes. We have 5 minutes. I can't count. So, any last minute questions?
Speaking of your streaming, your streaming and all that, have you ever thought about like adding your own voice to your streams, like if you want to do commentary based on other game-related shows? Are you a big fan of AVGN or what other shows?
Oh, I'm not as funny as those guys. I can't like think of funny things to like script out and do that. So it's kind of like a lot of my funniness, if it's not dry and sarcastic, is me just being like really awkward and not knowing what to say. So it's all like really on the fly and stuff like that. If I'm not concentrating too hard on what I'm doing. But yeah, usually the streams are just me like talking about what I'm doing. People ask questions and then I'll answer them if I can see them.
If you've seen shows like the Angry Video Game, if you've seen something like that, what are your thoughts on their performances?
I don't watch too much of it, but what I've seen, he's really funny. Just like this white guy, this nerdy white guy with glasses, just getting really, really mad at things.
Especially when he did the Ghostbusters 3-parter back in the day.
Yeah, I wish I could do that. Last minute, or we good? Yeah.
If the opportunity would ever come, would you ever think about maybe doing like directing work? Because I know like other voice actors have worked in directing and like other shows and stuff, like how you said that Patrick worked with the directing in the video game. Like, would you ever be interested in doing that?
I mean, I've thought about it, but I feel like it's a lot of work. Because I see some of the directors who are also actors who will, they'll be on like 2 shows at a time and they just look exhausted like all the time, and I'm already exhausted as it is doing what I do. So I don't know, I feel like the idea would be cool, but I think if I were to do anything on top of doing voiceover, I'd rather do ADR writing, like script adaptations for anime and stuff like that. So that's kind of more what I'm interested in, but I hear the deadlines are so crazy for that stuff, so I don't know. I'm kind of content just to do voiceover right now. It's fun, and it's a little less stressful than all that stuff. Yes?
Is there a certain anime character that you wish you could have voiced?
My absolute favorite anime, it's an old one, is Fruits Basket. I just get like awes from that, and I really appreciate that because it's such a good show. I cried a lot.
That takes me back to
Omnicon, Matoi, yeah, their episodes always get me to cry. But if they were to like redo that kind of Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood style and make it closer to the manga, like I'd love to be anyone in that. So I'd be like class person A, like I don't care. Just being a part of like one of the series that really helped me get into anime, I think would be really cool. If I had to be specific, I guess Momiji would be fun and sad. Any other last minutes?
Speaking of the PS.
Can I rest my voice now?
Yes. PS4 gaming,
Yeah.
do you ever keep track on trophies? Like,
I don't. I don't like platinum trophy. I'm too lazy. It's really hard.
some people are.
Yeah, my boyfriend is a completionist, so I'm not. I'm just like, let's get through the story because the story is really cool. I don't need anything.
Let's hear.
That's how I do. But sometimes, whenever like I'm like at 90% or 80% or something, I would try to make an effort. Like I platinum the entire Infamous series,
Yeah,
and I got like 11 platinum trophies in my account.
that's intense. I can't do that.
3 from me, so far.
Yeah.
He has more games than I do on his
Oh.
system.
And that's counting some of the ones I got from PlayStation Plus Instant Game Collection.
Not counting the games he has on PS3.
Including Dust, I platinumed that.
Not counting games he has on PS3 and PS4. Yeah, both.
And Vita.
And Vita.
Cool.
I should apply so I can find you on PSN.
I don't add people on PSN that I don't know, like, in my daily life.
Always play it safe. Always play it safe.
Yeah.
Because some people
Well, I mean, that's what I have like Twitter and stuff for.
some people are complete, jerkwads.
That's not why I don't have people. But anyway, yeah, I think I'm gonna cut it here since I'm gonna go drink a lot of tea so I can be ready for the panel tomorrow. And I think I'll do autographs later if people haven't come yet. All right, thank you so much, guys.